Welcome to Coffee Connect, everyone. I am Rodney Chronister. I'm the host here. We've been going, this is episode year 5, episode 16 today that we will be recording. This whole group was brought together really just to help provide those connections for people, right? In areas that they might be struggling in, or to help their businesses grow, or to help them in transition, or any way that we can help them, right? If you enjoy the conversation today, I would encourage you to shoot me an email at ccinfo@addictedtoconnecting.com. That's addicted2connecting.com. And I'll get you on the email invite list so you know the upcoming topics that are coming to us. And then as well, if you want to look back at some of the past recordings, right? I would encourage you to go to the website, www.addicted2connecting.com, where you can check out some of those past episodes and stuff. So today, listen, we've been kind of going on this furlong of nothing but Shannon Malcolm Daniels introductions, and I believe Sabine is actually the final of those introductions that happened quite a few months ago. And Shannon, I really appreciated it. We've been enjoying all the speakers come in and stuff. And guys, as a nuclear engineer, someone who believes in green energy and making our planet a better place, I really think this is going to be a great topic that's going to resonate, especially the fact that most of us here own homes or want to own homes. And what a great way to improve not only your ability to live right, but our environment in the future generations as well. So here to talk to us today about smart, healthy, green living. Give it up for Sabine Schoenberg.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I hear from the brief conversations we had before that we all are spending a lot of times indoors, whether it's for our jobs or for gaming and other leisure adventures. And that is very apropos, because EPA even said years ago that the indoor air quality in our homes is 2 to 5 times more polluted than outside air. So very important to think about what is the indoor air quality, because it improves your sleep, it improves your productivity, it improves your health. And the plain reality is that today we're living in a chemical toxic plume, and that includes inside our homes. We think of our homes as sort of a controlled environment, but think again, and I hope very much that I inspire you to go think through the type of products that you surround yourself with, whether they're cleaning products, furniture, and all the other choices that we make as consumers that really we want to question. I came to that conversation in a very personal way through my building career. I built high-end residential homes for high-end top 1% income earners and celebrities. The only one that I'm allowed to mention is Tommy Hilfiger. And every time I would close up a house, and close it meaning sheetrock time, I started to get daily headache, and really serious headaches. And initially I set it aside and I would say, it's just construction dust. But the reality is I got very lucky, because all of these chemicals that are in the air are actually, there's a term called bioaccumulative. In other words, they build up in you until your body can't take it anymore. And then it becomes a matter of managing systems and no longer getting rid of this or reducing those thresholds. So it's a very dangerous thing, and you want to really think about it. And exactly that led me to start and design and build what we now see as smart, healthy, green living. We baked it right into the name, into the logo, because to us it is that important. We want to shake people into the awareness that they might want to think about certain things. I'm not the only one saying that. If you go on Google and you say how many chemicals surround us every day, Google tells you, and take a guess in your mind, how many toxic chemicals is the average person exposed to every day? Google says 700,000 chemicals per day. It's staggering. So where are these chemicals? They are in our homes. We bring them in. For example, the NIH, National Institute of Health, talks about chlorine as probably responsible for 5,000 to 8,000 cases of colon and rectal cancer a year. Chlorine is in our water. It's a necessary ingredient to bring water through the various pipelines into our homes. But it might be an idea to put a filter there so you do not bring chlorine into your body. These are the kind of decisions that are very worthwhile to think through. Brain disease is the #1 category growing in terms of disease in the States. First and foremost, Parkinson's disease is on a 700% annual growth curve. Staggering, 700%. Mainly driven, as some believe, scientists like Dr. Ray Dorsey, who's a neurologist, by dry cleaning and TCE, specifically the chemical component in dry cleaning. So as you bring it into your home, the stuff that you smell as dry cleaning, that's TCE, highly volatile and very toxic for your body. Just a few examples. Who has hardwood floors in their homes? Can I have a show of hands? Okay. Well, they are typically sealed by polyurethane, correct? Is that what you have? Yes. Polyurethane is one of those well understood neurotoxins. So polyurethane is off-gassing into the air, into your home, which is a sealed environment. And as you get more modern in homes, even more sealed environments. And the stuff is there. Some people believe, oh, it's there in the beginning, it's going to off-gas, and then it's okay. No, studies show it will continue to go and off-gas into the air. So another example of how the stuff can be hidden in products that you think are okay. 60 Minutes actually did a whole series on one time, a number of years ago, on certain polyurethane finishes and where people had major liver damage as a result. So not to take it lightly. So where is smart, healthy, green living found? Where do you see this? The world of media is a very diverse environment these days. We used to have television, but millennials don't even know what television is anymore. So you get into all kinds of online forums, platforms that are either online or you can bounce them onto your television. Back in 2008, Apple came out and announced the App Store. So that was the beginning of all things apps in our world. And so you have our app, which is SHG Living, is an app. You can find it in different arenas. You can find it on Roku, download there. If you have an LG or a Samsung television, a smart television, the smart television allows you to download these apps into your system and watch our shows there. Our goal is not to hit you over the head with all this sort of terrible news, but in fact, in a sort of entertaining way, present to you that you have options, many options actually as a consumer. And I'll keep it back a little bit, but I will talk to you about and invite you to think about our next chapter where we are answering, hopefully, the #1 questions I get all the time, which is, where do we find these products? How can I know more about them? And that's going to be the next phase of SHG Living, which I'll talk about in a moment. So you can go, in fact, I'm going to go share screen something so that I can show you what the site looks like. And share screens. Here we go. Can you see this?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, good. So welcome, SHG Living. This is the online version. So if you could look up here, watch.shgliving.com is one of the ways that you can watch SHG Living on your computer. And what you'll see is a number of shows. This is the one that we just launched yesterday. We were super excited about it. These are a series of, this is a library, it comes out of a library that is filmed in Australia, New Zealand, England, Europe, and the United States. It's television production quality. And we're super excited that this level of content is on our site now. If you want to feel inspired to go to eco hotels and really see what sustainability can be and how exciting it can be to be off-grid, completely run solar hotels in the middle of nowhere with gorgeous design, luxury all the way, watch that show. It is, my head wasn't into traveling, but last week when we brought this live and I started to really watch these, I'm like, I think I have a few trips ahead of me. So this is Hotels by Design, Green Impact. This is a lady who was invited to the Europe Google conference last year, talking about sustainability. She's in Denmark. So right away, you see that we have kind of a global production of shows, global network. What's also interesting here, you can click into shows, and then there's watch live. And are you guys familiar with the term fast channels? Fast channels is basically the reaction to all the subscription thing that came with the world of apps at one point. You had to subscribe to this, that, and the other, so you couldn't, unless without that, you couldn't see any content. Then people said, well, no, I actually can accept a certain amount of free advertising stuff on it. It's fine with me. I don't want to pay for these subscriptions. And that became the world of fast channels, which is basically the old television format with a program running through 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, all the way 24/7 with a defined program. In the world of online, you can go into our app and decide what exactly you want to see. The opposite is the case when you go watch live. You then see it there. And we're very excited about the fact that our advertising growth has been phenomenal. We just got the June numbers and it's really, really looking good. People are finding our stuff and are watching our content. So super excited about that. And as you go through here, you see all kinds of shows. From green dreams to different gardening. We are in the home and garden segment, and you usually find us if you go to I'm just picking on Sling free channels, for example, you find us in the lifestyle category. And you just click around and see here whatever you wish to see. If you want to go shows, for example, it breaks it down further so you can really get into, I don't know if do you know this climate ribbon? Next time you go to Miami, visit Miami, check out this climate ribbon. It's a very interesting eco installation and sort of an urban design scale, very exciting. So you can see we have home stuff all the way to very large urban and other settings. It's a wide variety of mixture, and you see me down here. This is the show that started it all because I decided to build a smart, healthy greenhouse on spec. And it became so successful that we decided we had built all this audience in no time. We needed to bring this content forward. And that is why SHG Living, or Smart, Healthy, Green Living, exists today. So super excited about that. And again, you click on it and you see different shows that open up. I think I have bad connectivity here today, but typically you can go in there and it opens up. But today signal strength was not great where I am currently. Anyway, so with all of this, we're in the world of fast. We're online. You can watch our content wherever on whatever device you wish to consume it. The next question is a whole new layer that we're developing, because time and again, I get questions from consumers, from people who know me, who see our site. Where do I find these products? And I want to do my own bathroom renovation, my own kitchen project renovation, for example. Give me some sort of roadmap or a guide to my own project. And so that would be a sort of deep dive into what are actually healthy products in a bathroom, for example. What do I need to think about to avoid mold in my bathroom, just as an example, or write down the list. If I want to put a solar system on my roof, well, what kind of data do I really have? When I click in it, usually it becomes kind of a hidden advertising thing. It's not really authentic. So we're developing a gated, meaning a full subscription side to Smart Healthy Green Living that does exactly that. It talks with experts, sort of the inside scoop on how to put projects together, exactly what I've been building all along for many, many years. Bring in experts to really get behind stuff, understand installations, understand the guides, hopefully helping you to in your own projects to help you select healthier choices, choices that are better for you, your own health, and also the planet, because what's good for you is really good for the planet. So as you go into the breakout room, I would love to ask you to think about what kind of content would be interesting to you. What would you pay for? What would be productive for you to have? If you wanted to do your kitchen over, for example, what questions would you have to help you in that project? I'd love for you to engage on that conversation, because a few years from now, you might find yourself to be one of the, you actually are the very first group of people that we're putting this out toward. And so you will be able to say, I was part of the group that kind of created the thinking behind this new SHG Living form that we're going to be building. So let me know what your thoughts are. For example, I'd love to know, as I'm doing this, there's a kitchen hood. Is that enough? Do you know enough about air in your house and air in your kitchen? Is this an area that you want more information about? Or the products that you put into your house, the cabinets, for example? What kind of stuff is interesting for you to think about, and you frankly would like to have some help with to get it right the first time? Because the reality is, every time you do a home improvement project, you're always spending a lot of money. It's just the nature of the beast. So getting it right, and getting it right so that you can talk to your architect or your builder, your contractor, is kind of an important thing. So what are those ingredients that might help you?
Man, we got a whole list of stuff. You're muted, Sabine. You're muted.
Here I am. Tell me, you have a whole list of stuff.
Yeah, I
So
mean, I
I
think
have,
we came up with a bunch of stuff. I said my next home is gonna my next forever home, right? I don't know if I would ever take on the tackle of, let me take this house that I bought that was built in the 90s and try and convert it into something that is eco-friendly and stuff. But definitely the next house that I buy that we know is going to be our forever home that we're going to build, there's a good chance that we can look at those building materials, right?
Yep.
So in that same discussion, I can't remember who JJ was talking about, just having basic understanding of what it takes to do that, right? What's the code? How does that all come into determination, right? As far as getting all that stuff together and what's right and what's wrong for coding and things like that. We had a question in the group. They want to know, like, what is a good paint? What's a good coating to put on the outside of the house? And then for those of us that maybe aren't real handy, right? Is that the easy way to say it, Tim? Right? We're not real handy.
very diplomatic.
Right. But what's the quick and easy way to do an assessment of where we're at if we're living in a Victorian house, to try and figure out what can we tackle to help make it a little bit better for our families and ourselves and stuff, right?
Okay, let me take a couple of stabs here. Good paint. That's a really good conversation to have, because paint is actually plastic, fossil fuel based. And when you look at the junk that's actually in paint, it's not really good. That said, there's progress there, because of course today the consumer can choose between VOC, light VOC, or no VOC kind of options. In other words, manufacturers are offering you today the option to deal with the off-gassing thing. And that's already a huge step in the right direction. So everybody, when you go and want to paint your room, do yourself the biggest favor, do your health big favor and choose no or zero VOC, volatile organic compound is what it stands for, zero VOC paints, so that the stuff no longer comes into the air. There is actually one other one, and that's Harmony from Sherwin-Williams. They have a paint, Harmony, that goes, the paint particles go into the air and actually capture some of the VOC that might be floating around there. So that's a step further even, which is very exciting to see, to create a better, healthier environment. Beyond paint, meaning fossil-based paint, there are also mineral paints. That is ultimately the best health standard, because then you get out of the whole fossil fuel and all the other crap that's in paint kind of conversation. Mineral paint is absolutely your best, highest standard. And the one to choose is definitely one out of Germany called Keim. I know Rodney did it outside because they also have an exterior masonry-based paint, which let me say it again, Rodney, you don't know how much of a favor you did yourself, because one, you got a warranty for it. There's no other exterior paint that gives you a warranty. This company gives you a warranty because it's a fully breathable paint on the outside of your house, which is exactly what you need. Otherwise, you're creating these weird water kind of conditions ultimately. So there's a lot of conversation just to even have in paint.
And to put context to that, right? When we say warranty, just out of curiosity, how long does anybody think the warranty's for? Take a guess.
5 years.
10 times that. 50 years. Like, I will never have to, if I lived in this house until I died, right? I would never have to paint the outside again.
And you will have no paint color degradation.
Yeah. No fading, no nothing.
So from the ground up, since you mentioned for paint, building from the ground up, that obviously is the ultimate opportunity, because then you can really think through everything from the insulating the slab, what kind of foundation to use, what concrete to use, what systems to put into your house. It is ultimately the best way to get to a super healthy, what they call a performance standard house. It is definitely the way to go. It's easy to put on put in a geothermal system and combine with a solar system. You can size these things properly based on your square footage and all the various components that you have. It is actually the most cost-effective way to go about anything. It always has been in construction. Renovation is more expensive every single time than building new. So, of course, with all of this, it depends on what you're building. You can do a low-cost house versus where I used to be in the luxury home market. There's a tremendous range of products, but in each case, you can definitely improve things beyond where the average housing stock that exists out there in the United States is today.
What do you guys talk about in the other rooms?
So I have questions.
Yeah.
I renovate houses and I've been doing it for the last 15 years. And I'm very familiar with everything that you were talking about. The issue that I always run into is one, they're unaware of this stuff, so they really don't care. And the other issue is the actual cost of doing this. Some of this stuff just doesn't make any financial sense for the average person, just because of how much it costs per square foot to implement and make some of these changes. So I'm in the process of actually building my own home, and I am doing a passive airtight house. I'm not sure if you're familiar with all the terms and the certifications that come along with stuff. So I really dove heavy into it. I have asthma myself, and I don't want my kids having it. It looks like they're going to have bronchitis, unfortunately. But I understand all of this, but I even talk to contractors and builders, and just going through this process, a lot of people are unaware, even in the industry itself. And even suppliers to get your hands on some of these products and all of this, it's hard. It's not a easy process.
Tell me about it. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I hope that you will point them to Smart, Healthy, Green Living, because that's why we started this, because I realized how difficult it is to get these products and how little people knew about these products. That's why the media was all over us when I created this house with all these products and I started to talk about and discuss why I did what I did. I built it on spec, no less. And in other words, speculative. I just, from the ground up, I said, there's a consumer out there that's going to be interested in what this house offers. I'm just going to build it and let's see what happens. And it was a huge rousing success. And yes, because of that, I'm very familiar with all the LEED and other certifications, air quality certifications that are out there. And I applaud you for doing it because, yes, it might be a little bit more expensive on the face of it, but how much is your health worth to you? What are you going to be spending in medical bills down the road? And maybe it's a better choice to maybe even shrink down the size a little bit and upgrade what's in it as a better choice than just, oh, I want the biggest sprawling thing that I can build. And therefore, of course, the construction budget mushrooms. There are ways that you control cost to some extent. As you build new, it's your best time to control all of these costs going in because you have all these options in terms of how you're going to go about it. Are you going to be stick build and what kind of stick? Is it going to be engineered lumber, regular lumber? Is it going to be a T-stud? Is it whatever it is? You can design to a budget very, very clearly. So I think,
ironically,
yeah, go ahead.
what I've noticed is the sweet spot is around 4,000 square feet. Anything smaller than that, the cost becomes astronomical compared. Anything larger, it actually goes down. So like the larger the house you build, it's actually much, much cheaper.
On a square foot basis, no question, of course. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I built up to 15,000 square feet. So
well, you're familiar with it. Yeah.
I'm familiar with it all, up and down the entire spectrum, believe me. And I'm shocked. Even people that are building mega mansions are not familiar with it. They're getting to be familiar with it. They're seeing the tax incentives, for example, also. I mean, just in terms of the money cost factor. You put a geothermal system or a solar system in there, tremendous federal and usually local and utility tax benefits that you can take advantage of to bring down these costs significantly, especially in renewables or HVAC installations. So,
are you familiar with the house that Honda built?
House that, I'm sorry?
Honda. Are you familiar with the Honda house?
No, Honda house, no.
You should. I'll put it in the chat. It's a house, a passive house that the car company Honda built. And it's extremely passive. It has a home energy management system, geothermal, electric, and it was like one of the first major projects. They were planning to do an entire neighborhood, and for whatever reason, it got scrapped. But the house, they have all the numbers online, and you can check out how it performs and everything. It's actually pretty awesome.
Exciting. I'd love to. Actually, this would be a good example to go and send a camera team in there and study that thing. I built that house basically with all it's called smart, healthy, green living. So smart is a very important component actually, because there are a lot of efficiency that you can build into a house when you have smart systems in it, because you have so much more information and data to really work with. And so that's exactly what I did. I built a geothermal system, all the latest state of the art, passive house standard, although we didn't certify it at the time because we had other time pressures. And but anyway, this is coming, and the more you do in that direction, I think the marketplace, people are already saying, appraisers are saying around here anyway, I'm in the Northeast, houses that have energy efficiencies, passive house type of houses, are 7 to 10% more valuable than not having it. I think people are catching on very fast. This is an upward curve. Certainly coronavirus helped a lot in this conversation of getting people aware of where they're spending their time and what kind of exposure they really have to outside conditions. So there's a lot more awareness.
Sabine hit nail on the head earlier when she said you can't put a price on your health and your life, right? And Ray, we're in finance, you and I, right? I mean, we got to understand, people look at that price today and it could look astronomical to them, but I would ask them to pull out their crystal ball and tell me how much building materials are going to cost 20 years from now.
Exactly.
Or what it's going to be 10 years from now. I mean, I did a simple analysis of if the cost of paint never goes up and I had to paint my house every 3 to 5 years for the next 30 years, right? Or 20, whatever it was. When is my break-even point? My break-even point was like 10 years. for what it cost me to put this coating on my house that's warranted for the next 50.
Really
So
well point.
it does become a no-brainer at some point, but you got to be able to work logically through it, because they look at that cost today and go, oh my gosh. Well, you don't know what it's going to be 20 years from now.
And also, if you're building a house that does have certain insulation values, for example, especially regarding the roof, if you have an R60 or R70 on your roof, that brings down the HVAC cost that you have to install to heat and cool that place. So there are built-in efficiencies along the way. And there are different levels of systems and you can look at all the way. As I said, I'm a spec builder. I built this house on a budget, on a time frame, and I had it all basically budgeted out. This is the market number that I have to hit so that there's money at the end of the day, some profit built in for my time, et cetera. It was a highly costed out, budgeted kind of approach. But I will tell you, the buyer of this house, young millennial, 2 kids, son of a woman who is a stage 4 cancer survivor. And she claims and says to everybody who wants to listen, the reason why I beat this cancer thing is because I changed everything in my house. I ripped out all the chemical stuff in my house. No more chemical cleaners, no more chemical furniture, no more off-gassing in my house. I have filtration systems built in. That is what is necessary for me to do because I have no longer tolerance as I had before. My body can't take it. And that's a good example of, you know, spend a little bit more. Don't buy the $17,000 refrigerator when a 10 will do, but spend the 7 on your HVAC system, get a better one. Much better choices. And that's the good news about construction. There are choices along the way, and make smart choices. And we want to be part of that conversation with this new subscription system that we're building, because I want to hear from the people that are doing it. I want the consumer to have that information, because it's not what's written on the page. It's from the people that are using this stuff in the field. That's the information you need to get before you start your project.
Sabine,
Yes.
how much, what did that house retail for, and what was the square footage, just to get an idea?
Yeah, so I'm in Greenwich, Connecticut. We're a high-end marketplace. The house sold for 3.2 million in 2017. So it's actually more. Today's value would be somewhere around 5 million probably. And the square footage was 3,700 square feet. That's including everything, garages and everything. When we count square footage here, we really talk about the totality of the house, not eliminating the basement and garage spaces. So it was a high cost per square foot number. But again, if you have a consumer who understands the story of this house, there wasn't just one buyer. We had significant interest in this. So we're in the process of fundraising now. All of this fund, whether it's sending out television crews and marketing and all this, it will cost a certain number, obviously. So we're raising 3 to 5 million to get us going and launch us into this new part of SHG Living, which we call SHG Living Create, which is that gated subscription side where we were going to have these kinds of forums and discussions and product analyses. So if you know anybody who wants to be a part of this, this is our next chapter. We're super excited about it. Me as a builder, having built these houses, that's where I wanted to go all along, because yes, it's fun to be entertained and see sort of the broader sweep of things, of exciting hotels around the world that are off the grid and clean air and all this sort of good stuff. That's fun, it's entertaining, and that drives a certain audience. But let's take it to the next step. Let's really see how that stuff applies in your life and your choices that you can make. And that's where my passion and enthusiasm has been all along. And so we're now in a position to bring that other chapter, and we're super excited about it.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
Are there other countries incorporating these things into home building more than the United States? I would think in Europe it must be more.
Way more.
Countries are ahead in this.
Way more. In fact, the United States is kind of a lagger, if you will. I would go that far. Australia is ahead of us in many ways. New Zealand, same thing. All over Europe. In the European government last year, there was a decision made. The European government parliament enacted a change in heating and air conditioning. So, and that now has to go through the various countries to be ratified. In Germany, I'm German originally, so I've seen all along what's going on there in terms of wind, in terms of solar, and all of these things for years already. In Germany, if you have a house that is 100% run on fossil fuel, when you sell this house, you have to change or provide budget for the buyer to change the heating and air conditioning systems into a 62.5% renewable. That generally means a heat pump installation for most houses in Germany. So they're driving the whole conversation about everybody has to participate in creating lower off-gassing due to the heating up of the planet. Southern Germany has been flooded over the last 5 years more than ever before. It's very clear that the warming oceans creating different atmospheric kind of currents, and there's an impact that everybody is experiencing, and people are willing to ratify this because they said, we got to do something, got to start somewhere and bring everybody along into this conversation. It is not something that just a company or a state can do. We all as consumers have to bring our part. That's why it's very prevalent throughout Europe. In fact, most of the products, the high-end products, especially here in the States, like air filtration systems, come out of Europe. Fortunately, they're really here because they recognize this as definitely a growing market. If you go into Smart, Healthy, Green Living and go to Sabine's new house, that's where you get in it. And forgive some of the video quality. It was literally somebody gave me a video camera at that time when I started building it. And I said, this is a really good opportunity to show people what's behind the walls, ultimately, the stuff that you will never see again, and start to tell the story. And so some is very rudimentary, but I put it up there because it is still part of the conversation. And a lot of stuff that we did there actually is still very, very relevant. So it's a good place to check out and see what might make sense for you to do.
Question for the group real quick. I know a few of us are familiar with Tino. We've seen him yesterday at Cannes. Do we know, I know I don't know his entire process. I kind of understand what he does and what he's doing and who he partners with, but is he using green materials and stuff like that for his cabinetry, or I don't know.
So I'm a shareholder of Tino's business in a small way.
And it's got to be green.
Well, and actually that's a wonderful question. I'm not sure he's got this layer in his system, but he certainly doesn't talk about it that way. But I think that's a powerful communication platform and also product platform for him to really dig into that and maybe have a discussion with Sabine, because yeah, so what Tino does, he has an app that helps people measure exactly the furniture or the cabinetry they need.
Good.
Yes, and he builds it remotely using manufacturing machines that are probably unused. So it's an amazing platform. It's taking him a lot of time. He's kind of early, he's kind of early in the game, but I told him, he will succeed. Keep on going. But yes, great idea. I think if he needs to add that component, and I'm pretty sure they use wood anyways. So, and maybe you might want to learn what kind of woods are good or less. So that's a great connection to make, Sabine and Tino via Rodney.
Yeah,
Love
absolutely.
to meet him. Let me tell you a story. When I marketed the house I built, I had a broker open house, and this guy comes, and I'm telling people about the cabinets, and the conversation in cabinets is, what are the glues all about? Are they VOC free? What kind of glue is being used? And so I, of course, had a German manufacturer, because 100% they're totally sustainable, no problem with any health consideration in these glues. And he's standing there, and I'm seeing he's like freezing. He's kind of death warmed over. I'm like, okay, so what's your reaction to this? Well, why are you reacting so strongly to this conversation? He said, because I just realized why all the dishes in our brand new cabinets have this funny smell. We tried any number of dishwasher detergents, cleaned it. It doesn't come off the cabinets. Cabinet is a box, an enclosed, pretty sealed box. And so you have these glues off-gassing into this china. And he said, the glasses are the worst. I said, you have one option. Rip the whole goddamn thing out because it's your health at stake. He said, I'm going to do that. You bet you I'm going to do that because I don't see any other option. So cabinet makers are a big part of the conversation of getting this stuff right.
Yeah, and Tino's got a great business model because he doesn't have all the upfront cost of having his own machinery and stuff, because he's literally partnering with other manufacturers whose CNC machines and things like that are going underutilized, to actually that like if he's got a client in Cincinnati, then he's coming to Cincinnati and partnering with some company here so that he can get the cabinets made here, gets them installed as quickly as possible, and moves on to the next client, right? And so
Yeah,
I'll get an
love to meet him.
introduction for you guys, Sabine. I mean, he's on LinkedIn and he comes to these as much as he can. He was here well, his AI guy was here last week. His AI notes taker was here last week. But he does come in face to face. He was with us yesterday at Cleveland Area Networking and stuff. So perfect. Hey, give it up for Sabine, everybody. I know we're running out of
Thank
time.
you, Sabine. Wonderful. I'll
Appreciate
connect
it.
with you on
Nice to meet you
LinkedIn.
all.